Hello everyone, and so far so good. I would say that I'm very appreciative of all the groups and what you've done in your CAT assignments. In the following audio, I want to highlight on some of the most important things which I think should be very clear as of now, based on what we mean by response in critical reading and response. If you remember from our previous interactions, we agreed that this course is divided into two parts. Part 1, critical reading. And by critical reading, that's where we came to the observation that this is very professional, serious reading, which calls for a lot of seriousness, that you're not just reading for fun, but instead you are reading with a questioning mind. And so far, so good. In this audio, I want to highlight on response, and especially when we come to writing our ideas and reflections about literary works after we have read something. And someone may ask, what's the best order in which we should arrange our term papers or articles when we write responses to something we have read? You can read a novel, a play, a poem, a song, whatever. And then you want to write your own reflections on that work which you have read. In that case, that's what this audio is all about. Because, like you may agree with me, readers all over the world would want to know, like, what's your work all about? What's the article about? And in this case, therefore, a good title that tells the reader what your work or what your essay is all about is key to good communication. And then, after you think through and see what could work as your title, there is what we call the abstract. An abstract, however, is written after you've done your entire essay all the way to the end. And it's as a result of being able to see exactly what your essay is all about that you write an abstract. An abstract is a one-paragraph summary of about 200 to 300 words that tell your reader the main issues your essay addresses, what is so important about it, how you go about analyzing the topic, why you choose the method of analysis you have opted for, and finally, probable findings which your analysis arrived at after doing the critical reading of a given text. After that, there is what we call the introduction. And allow me to say the following, that a good introduction should tell the reader in a few words what one should encounter after reading your article. It's therefore a quick glance into the entire paper, even before one has read it. And an introduction answers the question, what? what is this article about? The moment you're able to tell your reader, this article discusses themes in this book, that book, good enough. And then a good introduction summarizes what could be the main subtopics of your essay. If you think like you've analyzed a literary text and you have 4 themes that you want to talk about: the theme of love, the theme of freedom, the theme of life, the theme of growth and development, then a good introduction should tell the reader in one sentence or in a nutshell that this article is about themes 1, 2, 3, 4. And therefore, by the time someone finishes reading your introduction, they already know what to expect next. After the introduction, then we get to the body of your essay. And this is where what you've introduced is discussed in depth and breadth. And in this case, you take each of the subtopics you mentioned in your introduction and discuss them one after the other. What makes a good body? A good body of an essay is made up of not only just telling the reader, but showing with examples and illustrations, where you draw your examples from the work you are analyzing. That way, you are able to convince the reader. Because you could say something like, in this song by so-and-so, he uses the metaphor, in this case, to bring out this message. This is because, if you do that, then someone reading your essay can be convinced that your analytical essay on the work you're analyzing is critical. Allow me to add something small there about paragraphs. As much as you're still dwelling on the body of your work, remember that a good essay is organized in paragraphs. And this time we use the following rule: 1 idea, 1 paragraph. 1 idea, 1 paragraph. And therefore, if I want to discuss the theme of love, and I have 3 examples to give as my main ideas, then the 3 ideas will define my 3 paragraphs for discussing that particular theme. After you've done your body, then we come to the conclusion. What makes a good Unlike the introduction that tells the reader what a given work is all about, a good conclusion summarizes the most important things which you want the reader to remember about what your essay was all about. We therefore use the rule known as the principle of end focus, which states that readers remember best what they read last. In this case, therefore, always make sure that your conclusion is not a retelling of what you've written, and it is not an introduction of new ideas, but it is a quick highlight of the most important thing that you want your reader to remember about the work you are analyzing. After you've done that, we come to the references. You may all remember, we've done quite a lot, how to use MLA, APA methods. In this case, you always list all the works you've used when coming up with your analytical essay. And this time, you don't just write a title of a book or the name of an author, but remember, good reference is made up of complete details of the materials you used when writing your essay. The name of the authors, or the name of an author whose works you've referred to, the complete title, the publisher of that work, the city where that work was published, and the year. Again, remember, there are different referencing methods, APA, MLA, Chicago, and so many others. Make sure that you use the correct referencing method that you have opted for to avoid plagiarism. In case you have quoted something, even within the body of your work, as you're analyzing, and you want to borrow someone else's idea, acknowledge it, so that again, you may not be penalized for plagiarism.